Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. If you do love a relationship story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight into today's first story. Now today's first story does come with multiple updates as well. One that was just updated today, and it's from No Dinner Invite but compiled by Same Effing Blood, who says, I keep meeting my birth mum, but she doesn't know it's me. So the first story says, she had me when she was 14 and I, 24 male, was given up for adoption. My parents told me about her growing up. I still have the letter she wrote me that she asked if they could give it to me if they wanted. It's crazy reading it sometimes and knowing it was a literal child who wrote it, saying she's sorry she couldn't be my mummy, but she hopes I'm happy. She was open to having contact, but we moved for my dad's job when I was 11, and then it seemed impossible to find her. But luckily I did. She's working at the small restaurant and I keep going, but she doesn't know it's me. We talk sometimes and she seems like a nice lady. Sometimes when she says something like, do you want a refill, honey? Or uses another term like that, I want to tell her. I don't know why it makes me nervous. We talk sometimes and she seems really genuine. If it's not super busy, she's more open to talking about random stuff. I literally drive 2 hours to come eat at this place just to see her. And it's like she knows me already, but I'm there once or 2 times a week for the past 3 months, so she always says hi with a big smile. But man, only if she knew. And as I said, we have 2 sort of lengthy updates on this one as well, but wow. In some ways to me, it kind of felt like it's got to happen at some point anyway. You have to tell, your mum about this, simply because, you're traveling there twice a week, 2-hour drive to see her and to talk to her. So I can't see there's a way that you're going to be able to turn around and, forget about this if that's what you wanted to do. I just can't see that happening. So I think, you just have to tell her. But we're going to go down to the comments first to see what they say. Then we're going to move on to those updates. And Percentage Soft 8684 asks, baby, why can't you tell her? This makes me tear up. And OP replies saying it's hard and I don't know why. Every time I'm on my way, I'm thinking, okay, this time I'm going to tell her. It feels easier talking to her without the heavy emotional stuff, but at the same time, I want her to know I'm her son. South Ad says, she didn't give you up out of spite. It's a child who loved you. Please tell her, because I think for her this would be the biggest joy in her life. Giving up her baby while she leaves you a letter to meet. Hun, she loves you. 14 or 80, a mother's love doesn't change. Otherwise she would have erased any way to contact her. It won't surprise me you're the biggest hole left in her heart, because a mother is never whole when she lost a child who she loves. If you're scared, write a letter about yourself with a phone number or a mail, or leave a baby photo she would recognize with your name and phone number in an envelope with her name on it. Then you don't have to say, I'm your son, but take the step, because regret is more painful than the present. And every moment counts. The present is the only thing you can change. You deserve her, and she definitely deserves you. Pilot Max Mum says, I used to long for my daughter that was adopted. I would visit a neighborhood park, watching all the children to see if I might recognize something in a child that would tell me was mine. Years later, when my daughter was older, I sought her out. We have a wonderful relationship for the last 15 years. She was at that park. Found out she grew up 5 miles from me. She could have been craving reconnection as much as I did. I wish you a fulfilled journey and much love. And one more from Like the Movie who says, tell her, please, I know it's difficult, but say you want to. My mum gave up her first son through a closed adoption and searched for him for 30 years. It was heartbreaking when he finally found her and turned out to not be a great person. You've already met her and you know the 2 of you get along. I don't know either of you, but knowing what my mum went through, I doubt that a day goes by that she doesn't wonder where you are. And now with that information, we're going to move on to our first update to see what happened. Update, well, I did it. I told her. And yeah, it was pretty heavy. My heart was beating fast. I kept trying to think how to tell her. Many of the comments on my last post here mention writing a letter just how she wrote a letter for me. Originally that was the plan, but for me, it felt like I needed to say it. Oh, really quick, I want to say thanks to everyone for their love and support, mostly to all the birth parents out there who shared their stories with me. That's what really helped push me to have the courage to confront her. It means so much, so thanks. Everything happened day before yesterday, by the way. I did wait for her to be done with her shift, and that was when they were closing the restaurant already, and waited in the parking lot. We said hi when she saw me first, but then I told her there was something serious that she needed to know. First told her sorry for keeping it from her for so long. She didn't react until I pulled out her letter, and she started bawling from there, like screaming and crying at the same time, and didn't even have to finish the whole "I'm your son" speech. She just saw it and knew. It was crazy. Next thing I know, she's hugging me instantly, but then she pulled back and asked if it's okay to hug me. Of course it is, and we're just there hugging and crying in the parking lot. Oh, don't get me started. And it hit her hard though. Her legs gave out for a second, so I had to actually hold her up while she's still there hugging me for a minute. What really got me was her saying to look how big you got. Also hearing her cry made me cry too. She went back to open the restaurant up. She wouldn't take no for an answer. We had coffee, ate a slice of their pie inside and talked. So much stuff we talked about. She told me the second time I came to the restaurant she got a feeling, but for her it was hard to believe it was me. So that feeling she had was pushed way down. Because she told me for years after I was adopted, she saw kids that would be my age and used to think they were me. Then she would be crying in public. It fucked with her mind a lot and made her depressed, so she didn't want to do the same when she saw me, getting her hopes up like that. She says I look so much like my biological dad when he was younger though. We talked about him too. They stayed in contact with each other in case I ever reached out to one of them, so it would be easier to contact the other. I didn't have any hope about finding my biological dad since he was never mentioned, so I'm glad they both planned for this future scenario. She told me about how they wanted to keep me, especially my biological dad. He didn't want me to be adopted, but he knew they had to because they were just kids. It took him a long time to get past it. After I was born, she told me. That's why she didn't leave anything, because he didn't want to believe he might not see me again. We talked for hours till almost 2 in the morning. They closed at 11. She just wanted to know everything about me, but her main thing was, am I happy? Were my parents good to me? Did I have a happy childhood? And I did. I told her thank you for helping to give me this life, and we both cried again. She cried the most. Everything was very emotional for her. Sometimes she would look really happy but then get sad again. After my 18th birthday, she was hoping I would find her. That's why she stayed in the same city. But since I didn't, she always thought maybe I resented her, wasn't told I was adopted, or maybe had decided it was better not to have her around. It made me feel bad for not telling her sooner. She told me it's not my fault and I did right going at my own pace. Honestly, she's so sweet. The way she kept looking at me with the biggest smile, it made me emotional sometimes. Makes you think, how can someone who's been a total stranger your whole life look at you with so much love? It's wild. We learned so much about each other. She asked if we could have dinner soon to keep talking, and at some point in the future, if I'm interested, come over to her house so I can meet her husband. That all sounded really great. We exchanged numbers. After I left, she sent a text telling me thank you for giving her this gift that she didn't know if I would ever come. My girlfriend came over and she hugged me while I cried. I wasn't sad, by the way. These were happy tears. Everything went better than I expected. There was still emotionally heavy stuff, but I'm still glad that we got to open up to each other. And that was the end of the first update. But we do have another one as well. And I'm just going to cover some relevant comments and questions really quickly from Turn Burn, who says, wow, that's terrific. Happy for you, bud. I'm guessing she'll be reaching out to your bio dad then. To which OP replied saying, she asked me if I wanted her to let him know. We don't have to meet right away if I don't want to, but just so he's aware. He's been wanting to see me for a long time. I told her to tell him and we can meet up soon. My first actual meeting with her had me real pumped, so I thought why not? I want to see him too. Antimatter says, OP, I'm beyond elated to read this. I'm sitting here, tears in my eyes, genuinely happy. I read your original post. I wrote this whole post about my wife and her biological father finding her and how happy they are now, encouraging you to tell her, and that I decided not to send it. Didn't think it was my place, and hey, what if I'm wrong and it didn't end up being positive? But that smile, the one she looked at you with, I've seen it in my father-in-law, and that's where the tears come from. I know that emotion. I know the feeling through my wife and her father, and I'm so happy you told her. I wish you nothing but happiness, and I hope this is the start of a new, exciting relationship with your mother. Cheers." And Opie replies saying, "It makes you feel special, you know. I'm not a parent yet, so I don't know the feeling, but it's the fact that this person hasn't known you your whole life, but they still look at you with so much love. They love you and want you. It's just a nice feeling. Thanks, and I really hope so too. We talked for hours our first meeting, but it still feels like there's so much stuff to talk about. I'm really happy." And as I said, we have one more update, so we're going to go into that straight away, and I just hope there's no twist in this tale because it's all absolutely wonderful so far. But Reddit, you know what Reddit's like sometimes. Hey, lots of you asked to let you know how it goes meeting my biological dad, and to say it was emotional is an understatement. I've been feeling so many things since this all happened. We met a few days ago, was originally supposed to be almost 2 weeks ago, but shit kept coming up, work, and then I got sick. Not COVID, for days. But we made it happen. To be honest, this was more nervous for me because I didn't know anything about him. With my bio mum it was different because I watched her from afar and got to know her a little bit before it came out. I asked my bio mum if she could be there too, just because she knows him better, so it was the two of us waiting for him at this park. He was already crying before we even got to him. The guy is strong too, so he pulled me in for the biggest bear hug and crying. He told me he wants me to know that they love me so much and he loves me. I lost count how many times he'd come back in for one more hug. This definitely got to him, and he kept saying thank you God a few times, looking at my face. The feelings, man, the feelings. We had so many of them. Hearing him tell me how much they loved me even back then. It meant so much for me to hear that, and not gonna lie, that had me holding him tight too. I'm sure to everyone at the park it was weird seeing 3 crying people, lol. My bio dad said he cried so many times just driving over here. He didn't think he had any more tears until he saw us. When we were all sitting down, it hit me that my bio mum was not lying when she said we look alike. Obviously he's older, but still, holy shit, the similarities. He brought gifts too, which was a surprise. It was really nice. He told me I don't have to keep them if I don't want it, but he felt weird not coming with anything, and he's wanted to give me this for a long time. One was a teddy bear holding a picture frame of him at the hospital holding me. He was 15 years old. It's still crazy to realize that. And then the other thing was a journal. The journal thing was stuff he said he started writing to me years after I was adopted. He was in therapy, and that helped him to cope, thinking he would give them to me one day. His way of still feeling connected to me. I haven't read everything yet, but some of the pages were his thoughts, and like if he's talking to me. How he felt when they found out she was pregnant, then the adoption. Everything going on in his mind when he first got to hold me as a baby. I didn't even know he was at the hospital too. It was not what I was expecting. It really got me. I read some more of what he wrote last night that really got me crying. I'm sad to think how much this has affected them emotionally for years. Also think it's pretty sweet he wanted to write this for me. We talked about his own life, which was pretty hard. His struggles with home life and the feelings he had about giving me up. Then he wanted to know everything about me. Basically with the same questions my bio mum had. I made sure they knew they made the right decision because my life was pretty great. He looked like he wanted to cry when he knew that because that's all they hoped for, and it was something he always wondered about for years. My mum left a bit after we were more comfortable, so we could talk more in private once it didn't feel too awkward between us. From there, he told me stories about how he met my bio mum. Sometimes he'd point out stuff he noticed about me that reminds him of her, or me and him having similar likes. Example: I love eating mangoes. I can eat them all day, and that's what I brought when we brought snacks at the park. He told me my bio mum was obsessed with mangoes even before she got pregnant. While pregnant, she craved it even more. Just cool info to know, even if it's random stuff, lol. It's still stuff we have in common, and we both have lots. Both like hiking, playing pool. He was a swimmer in college and I was on the swim team in high school. Both love rock music, especially 90s. My bio dad was really open about sharing everything. Like he really was getting ready for this meeting. He hoped it would happen, and he prayed every day to see me again because he had so many things he wanted to tell me. Overall, really good first meeting. I'm glad how it went. He's open to the idea of meeting my parents. After I told him about all this, because they definitely want to meet my bio parents again if I'm comfortable with that. Obviously, if my bio parents are too. Let's see when that happens. I don't know how it's going to feel for me. They've met each other before I was even born, but I never had them at the same place, so that'll be interesting, lol. Me and my parents met up yesterday to have breakfast so I could tell them everything. My mum was so happy how it went. She actually cried too when I was telling them about both their reactions. My dad was proud because he knew how hard it was the months after finding my bio mum and not really wanting to make contact yet. I'm really happy to have their support because it's hard not to feel guilty about wanting to know more about my bio parents. They gave me a really good life, so for a while it's felt like maybe to them I'm showing them that that wasn't good enough for me and I'd rather have my bio parents. But they told me many times they want me to do this for me, and they know how much I love them, and I really do. Finding them and meeting them was hard, but it was so worth it to me. And seeing their reactions made it feel even more worth it. Still can't believe it sometimes. I'm just realizing this has turned into a long post. My bad, lol. Writing this has been therapeutic, to be honest. Kind of thinking back to everything that's happened. Feeling really grateful. Again, want to say thank you to everyone who's been on this journey with me. Everyone who sent me their own stories, their love, their encouragement. You guys have beautiful hearts, and I'm happy I had somewhere to talk about all this and receive so much love back. Just want to say to all the adopted kids out there, I wish you guys luck and that you find what you are looking for. It's not easy at all. I feel fortunate that things didn't go badly or that my bio parents aren't bad people. And to all the birth parents out there who made this sacrifice, thank you. It's because of you there are kids out there like me who got to have a great life with loving parents. Oh my word, now that took a moment to get through. Couple of wee crying breaks in there. And I'm so glad there wasn't a twist in there where it went negative in any way. You know, we've seen it before. I think it may have been an Am I the Arsehole story from a while back, you know, where the child wanted to meet their bio parents, they met them and, you know, totally disregarded their adoptive parents. And I think it turned out like the bio mum started to manipulate the OP in that story and trying to get money out of like the adoptive parents and stuff like that. And it was awful in the end. But in this story, it was just lovely all the way through. And now this person has 4 parents in their life that love them with all their heart and just want them to succeed and be happy. What more can you ask for out of a story like that, right? I think they're going to have a wonderful future together now, getting to know each other and build this relationship further. And I think that's an absolutely wonderful thing. And you guys know what my imagination's like. That first meeting with Bio Mum, and it may not be the case, but I imagine like one of these US diners, you know, with a big diner sign out the front, and you go in, it's got like those sort of red chairs like you see in the movies, and the trucker sat at the bar eating pie and things like that. That's the kind of diner I imagined, and you know, it's all shut down, and the mum walks into the car park, maybe a bit of rain in the air or something. Then OP pulls out this letter and it just all turns to tears after that. And, you know, when he was talking about, you know, her legs giving out because she was just like in so much shock about it as well. Oh my word, the emotions, I'm exhausted. But what an absolutely wonderful update. Now, what do you guys make of this one? It's pretty rare that you get like a wholesome update all the way through. But let me know your thoughts on that. Now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories, the likes, subscribes, everything you do, as I always say, makes a massive, massive difference, and it truly, truly does. Thank you for your love, your support, and your time, and I will see you cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.